Now we're good to go. And for those of you who sat through the first little bit, very sorry. But we are live now, and we do have this thing running, folks. So we're ready to go here again. So I'm going to kick it off again with Darren talking about what kind of changes we may see with the places. As we know, Mike Blumenthal did a post this morning talking a little bit about places, but since then, Google has, or someone, for some reason, Mike has taken the picture of the cert down. So, Darren, your thoughts on this, please? Where we're going with Google Places.
Yeah, Mike Blumenthal put a post out today about new results, sort of like a new look in the pack of how it's going to be displayed. And I think there used to be a screenshot on his post that's not there anymore. If you look at his the post that he put out on Google Plus, you can see a little thumbnail of the screenshot, and it looks like they've got like a photo for every business over on the right-hand side of every listing, and it just looks like the pack is dominating the page. It's really interesting. So that could be a huge improvement. Going back to an eye tracking study that Dr. Pete did a couple of years ago, he showed that even if you have 3 organic listings above the pack was getting all the eyeballs. And back then we had the stars, the review stars, and so I really think that those stars drove a lot of eyeballs and then clicks as a result. And so since we lost that, I would assume we lost a little bit of traffic. I think Matthew Hunt even mentioned he'd been able to see it. He'd been able to see the impact that losing those stars had. So this new layout, if they do roll it out, would be huge in terms of increasing the local pack's prominence and increasing its importance for your overall SEO strategy. So that's exciting. I don't know what's happening there, but just in general about Google Places and the changes that are coming out, Mike, the big thing is sort of a new sort of interface to the Google Places dashboard, and Mike did a post about that on April 2nd, sort of showing the new look and feel of how that Google Places dashboard will work. It looks like it's got a number of great improvements. One thing I forgot to mention earlier, which is a big deal, is that in the new dashboard you won't be able to do custom categories. That's kind of a massive deal because your custom categories are one of the most important places for optimizing your local listing. So getting special keywords in there. A lot of people will just have like, okay, lawyer. They just choose one category. But the guys that dominate do things like they'll put in wrongful death lawyer or criminal defense lawyer. They'll do all these custom categories, and that stuff is extremely valuable to their rankings. In the new dashboard, in the new Google Plus Local, you won't be able to do that. The question I have, and I'm curious if anyone else knows the answer to this, is what happens if you've already set Google custom categories, and then when they do the merge, do you lose those custom categories, or are they still there? And if that's the case, then everyone should go out there and update their listing and get some custom categories now. I think Adam has some great points about it being just aesthetics and algorithms. So and there's no algorithm changes, so I'll pass that off to him.
Yeah, Darren, good point. I had actually forgotten about the custom category bit, and I was talking about Google Plus Local on-site measures, and definitely if or when they change those custom categories, that's, I would imagine, going to make a big deal, because I can tell you personally, and I'm certainly not ashamed to say, with some of my more aggressive legal clients, you can bet that we've got lawyers, attorneys, and then the stock category, and it works great. So it will be very interesting to see what happens here, and I'm trying to think back, last time they made any similar changes, and whether anyone was sort of grandfathered in once they had already had things tweaked a certain way, and nothing comes to mind. But I think you're right. I think we should, anybody who wants to be aggressive like that. And of course, there may be consequences down the road. I don't know, and it's kind of a gray area. I would say, but if you don't mind the heat, I think it might be a good idea to jump in and do that right away before they make the change. So that seems like such a big indicator for rankings, and to have that removed, I guess we'll just have to be stronger everywhere else. And
I can't imagine there would be a penalty if you have custom categories. Like, I can't imagine there'd be any repercussion. Like, when they decide to merge it, I would assume at worst they'll just drop your custom categories. So
Yeah.
Probably.
go back in there. Another change that happens is right now you get 5 categories, and the new dashboard you're going to get 10 of their preset categories. So that doesn't even seem helpful, because typically in the presets you won't be able to choose 10. So it's bizarre to me. I don't know why they would provide 10. Maybe, fingers crossed, they'll allow custom categories back in the dashboard. Right now they're saying no, but maybe you'll be able to do it.
Having custom categories makes the ontology a lot harder for the categories.
I think that's exactly the issue.
They have no
with Google, right?
control over the categories that way.
Right.
I can't see that working on a transition. If they're changing, that'll be an anomaly for sure.
Mike Blumenthal did a post on that too, basically highlighting the deficiencies of their existing category taxonomy, because there's a ton of business types and that just aren't reflected in their existing categories, and he highlighted a number of examples.
But what if, Darren, what if they took the custom categories and just made them part of the ontology?
That would be a mess, because there'd be millions of them. Just because everyone does it, everyone types in those categories.
They could look at them and prioritize them. Just saying.
They could have people
that
manually
makes more
go
sense.
I'm sure they will
let
do
people
that.
name any category they want. That's a resource. I've seen people in the same industry call the same thing 2 different things.
Yeah, 4 different things.
Yeah, weird things with the custom categories. It'd be like, pet hair loss lawyer. Just weird, like, stuff like that. So,
Yep.
There probably are guys that do that.
That would be a nightmare from their standpoint for resources.
Yeah.
But not any bigger than tracking custom categories.
Well, I mean, the custom categories would be a nightmare.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I can see them saying, okay, we'll give you 10 categories, but you can't make up your own.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Just one thing I wanted to point out in regards to what Darren was saying about the stars on the reviews for local listings, how that brought more traffic. It's pretty well known that any picture in a SERP draws the eye. So it's not just the reviews, it's any picture. That's why videos are so clickable, and why you should add a picture to your news. Because Google also includes the picture as part of the optimization for news. Mike, any thoughts on the custom categories? Excuse me.
No, I think like everyone said, it's still kind of up in the air what you're going to do. I think Darren hit it spot on when he mentioned the fact that you're getting 10 options, but I've worked with very few where if you're looking at the kind of ones that Google gives you to choose from that actually would fill that 10. You're lucky if you get 2 or 3. Depending on what search space you're working in. So I'll be curious to see what they do with that. Let's hope they keep some sort of customization, or at least broaden what's available to the user. Because right now, people are going to wind up either with nothing listed for their business, or they're going to wind up with 1 or 2 of the 10 available to them.
Mike, just to give you, for instance, where there could be easily 10 categories, a music store.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas someone like doctors, there's probably more than 10 different kinds of doctors, too.
Oh, easily.
Like you have general practitioner, and then each specialist under that, right?
Right.
So
Probably 10 different kinds of insurance.
never sell SEO short. I'm sure they'll fill up 10.
They'll fill the void, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they'll all get filled. So Places is something that I've been really watching for a while. was looking the other day and saw that it's now in your local search. But you also find your local places page in the local or in your page for the company. I wasn't aware of that until the other day when I really started.
Those are businesses that have done the merge process. So if your Google Plus business page, if you've manually done the verify and did the merge, then you will see it all in one spot. So you'll have the Google Plus business social stuff, plus you'll have your Google Plus local listing, all kind of on one view. That'll be what the new thing looks like. Most businesses haven't done that, and the current recommendation is to not do it just because it's so buggy. So just wait for Google to iron out the kinks, and then do it.
So
that's what that is.
I can bet you any money the next procedure is that you do not have an option you're changing now, whether you like it or not. Any comments?
I would assume that's coming down the pipe for sure. I mean, they're trying to consolidate all of this as it is. I'm sure once the dashboard's all squared away, it's just a matter of time. It's just when they're going to pull the trigger, I think, at this point. But I'm sure it's coming. The writing's been on the wall, but it's been, you know, like Darren said, it's been a very buggy process. So if you've dealt with people that have merged or have had to merge yourself, it's less than perfect. So my guess is they definitely want to make sure they worked out all those kinks before they pull the trigger on that, because Lord knows what a mess it creates.
I'm pretty sure they've come right out and said it, that they will force everyone to merge.
Yeah.
What? Sorry?
I'm pretty sure they have come right out and said that the merge will happen automatically. It's going to happen. All the businesses, if you have a Google Plus business page and you have a Google local listing, and they have the ability to sort of connect those based on your address and phone number, then the merge will happen automatically.
Yeah, I think that's what they would be looking for, eh? Address and phone number and name. So basically NAP information. If it adds up, bingo, bango.
Yeah, in the manual verify process right now, in the manual process, you type in your business information after you click verify, and then it goes out to the local packs, to the local database, and says, "Is this your listing?" And you can choose which one it is, and then you choose, and then it connects the two. So that's that whole process of matching them up will happen automatically.
That must be a nightmare for companies that have multiple locations in the same city, sometimes blocked from one another.
That's an important point, very important point. If you have multiple locations, do not merge your Google Plus, because your Google Plus business page, applies to the business overall. There's no way currently to match up a single Google Plus business page for a multi-location business with multiple listings. So if you have multiple listings, don't do the merge thing now. The general recommendation is just not do the merge thing, but especially if you're a multi-location business, don't do the merge thing, because then you're just associating your Google Plus business page, which is your whole organization, with one particular listing. So don't do it.
So I'm wondering if we'll see on the host or in the future that when they do this, that they'll just add the extra locations and have like a location finder built right into the page.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it.
That'd be awesome, eh?
I think in the Google Plus business page, you'll specify your locations, and then they'll connect them up.
Okay, so a company will have multiple pages?
A company will have a single Google Plus business page, and then they'll be able to add multiple locations to that page. I think that's the only way it makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like have one page and then a place where you can find all the locations.
Yeah.
So like a location finder would be awesome.
I can see
that
them
would incorporate that.
Too. Yeah. Like, imagine it was, Pinkberry or Pizza Hut. How would a brand like that manage all their locations?
Yeah, especially in the United States. Canada, not so much. Could you imagine Starbucks?
Exactly. McDonald's.
Yeah, or McDonald's not quite so bad. Well, maybe in the States, not here.
Or Hortons?
Yeah, Tim Hortons are be like Starbucks. I mean, it's nothing to see them almost right across the street from one another.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mike, any thoughts on this? Where we're going?
No, I think it's all kind of in the same boat. You know, I'm with what they're saying. I don't see it.
Okay. So I'll start with you for the next question. That way you can't do that.
No, that's fine.
I'm just kidding, buddy. I know you know what you're doing. Okay, so, and I know this is a good one to start with you, because I was thinking about the role of citations and links in the local algorithm. Your thoughts on these two, and please distinguish between what you mean by a link and a citation. Let's call a citation would be a mention of a business unlinked, and a link would be a mention of a business in a link.
Right.
Thoughts on that?
Well, I think kind of like we discussed earlier, I think the nice thing in what we've seen with local is everything we've been seeing change as of late has been aesthetic or appears to be, fixing things in the back end. So when it comes to local citations and even links, I think those are still valuable when it comes to your local search strategy. Citations are what are going to fuel, and that consistency of your NAP data are what are going to kind of fuel the strength in your local listing, kind of helping Google solidify where your actual location is. And at least as of now, I think that's still a huge part of the algorithm. And I think we see that in the fact that if you have inconsistent NAP data floating around out there with these citations, you're seeing new listings pop up, or you're seeing listing mergers and all these other problems that us local SEOs kind of battle on a day-to-day basis. So I think those are still equally important. And I think with that too, I think links are still going to be, just with the organic standpoint, we know links are still of value from that. And it's still going to continue to fuel local, especially if you can get some of those stronger local links, from like Better Business Bureau, Chamber of Commerce, things that are strong locally to you, and kind of fueling that location, seeing that you're getting links from other local sources. So I think those have been things that have fueled local for some time now, and I think unless something major shifts in the next 6 months to a year, I think that's still going to continue to be the focal point of a strong kind of local SEO campaign.
Yeah. Something that I was wondering about, and this will be in addition to Adam and Darren carrying on this discussion, is for a local business writing on a blog that is known to be local. For instance, I'm in Toronto. I have a client that I want to start getting local links for, and one of the first things I thought of was getting local blogs. Any thoughts on that, guys? And just lump that in with citations and links in general. Darren or Adam, which of you care to go next?
Go, Darren.
So that's the key link building strategy. One of the key link building strategies for us in local. So just reaching out to prominent local blogs and getting a guest post. For example, we had a moving client, and there was this great blog, livinginedmonton.com, and so for that blog, we just pitched a topic idea, like top 10 things to consider when you're moving to the city, right? So that was a great guest post. We had the writing outsourced, cost us a couple $100, got it placed. Well, cost us $150.
We don't do that. We don't even talk about that. Nobody pays for anything.
We didn't have to pay for the placement. We had to pay for a writer to write the post and put it in and make it good. It was
some people would even say
quality writing. That my client is a small business. He doesn't have the skills or the time to write a good quality blog post, and so we outsource that to a freelance writer.
I'm just kidding, Darren. No.
And then we pitch it. Yeah. So
and the thing is, how do you think that they're determining that local blog? Are they going and looking at the contact information for the blog, do you think? Or
Well, the domain name was livinginedmonton.com, so that.
For instance, Canada 1 is a local directory here. Would that be Toronto or Canada?
Canada 1, like a local directory? Well, that's more on the citation side.
No, it's a business site, actually, where I'll be writing again.
So, well, I don't know. It depends. That's Canada 1 sounds like it's nationwide. It's not specific to any.
Right. But it does a lot on local Toronto businesses.
Right, and there may be sections of the site that are about each part, and that's still a valuable place to get
right.
some of your content up there with the link. And of course, every time you're doing anything local, if you're getting a guest post out there, make sure you get your citation into the post content as well. You know, this post was written by business name, address, phone number, or contact them for more.
So get all the NAP information into it if at all possible.
Very important, yeah. You definitely.
So, hey, Darren. So you're seeing mention of the address, phone number as being extremely valuable as well in the citations?
Say that again?
You're seeing it as extremely valuable to mention phone number and address in the citations as well as the business name?
It's not really a citation without it. You know, there's something that's called a partial citation and a full citation. A full citation is your name, address, phone number. Then you're hooking into the local ecosystem. So you're hooking into Google Local. There's the concept of a general citation, which is just a mention of the business anywhere. And that citation is kind of more on the entity side, you know, on the organic side. But when we're talking about local and improving your local pack rankings, name, address, phone number is the key. You want to get all of them. But you can do it with just the name and the phone number is still considered a citation. The name and the address is still considered a citation. But those are partial citations. For a nice, strong citation, you want name, address, phone number. And name, address, phone number plus website sometimes.
So you would format your post as like Joe Schmo from, you know, something business and then give the actual address and phone number.
For sure.
The contact, and then so it could be. It doesn't have to be like in a structured format, right? Just mentioning all three would probably be enough.
Google's very good at identifying and parsing out map information from web pages, so it doesn't have to be marked up in schema or anything. You just put it on the page.
In other words, it recognizes phone numbers and addresses. Is what you're saying?
Sorry, say it again.
It's recognizing addresses and phone numbers, and probably zip is the best to include for an address, right, or no?
You want the full address, and you know, including the city and the state, city and province, and you want the postal code for sure. Full address. Now, in terms of link building, I think Adam's got lots of experience and advice there. What do you think, Adam? Any link building tips?
You were next on the hit list here, so take her away.
Yeah, and I was going to break in and say, you know, emphasis really needs to be put on what Darren just said there. You need to be looking at your organic link building as also your local effort. In every organic link that you build, especially like anything, you know, like a blog post, for example, if you can include your NAP, do it. And for too long, people have been ignoring that, and there are you know, a handful of people, more now I'm sure, that were definitely taking advantage of it. In fact, I can remember about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I discovered somebody doing that in their blog comments, and so I did a little playing around with that and started doing some blog comment spam and just using NAP in there.
We don't use that word.
Well, of course we don't. No one does that. Only
commenting.
Yes, the bad people do that, and I definitely saw some. I did this or someone did this for a personal injury lawyer. Yeah, and
I have a friend.
Go ahead. Oh yeah, and we certainly saw some movement from it in pack results. So I haven't played around with it, or he hasn't played around with it in quite a while. But it just shows you that thinking thinking local or being local centric in your organic link building is certainly very valuable and should be, addressed.
My limited experience when local first started, one of the first things I did was to, on every page, on every website, is I include full business name and full addresses and phone numbers, because at that time it was kind of like Google would associate the content on that page to being local using that data. Any thoughts on whether that has changed any? And that kind of leads into another one of the topics I wanted to go over, which is the role of the website in local. So it's not just your local listing with Google and Bing and that, and the directories and stuff, but what do you think the website is, what role is the website playing in that, Mike?
So what you're asking, what role does the website play from a local
if you were
rankings?
going to, say you were starting a local optimization campaign for a client, what would be the things that you would be looking on their website for to optimize for local?
Well, and I think the big factors are going to be similar to what we're talking about with citations, is having information within that website that ties it to the location you're at. So making sure your pages have your phone number on it, making sure your pages have your address on it. If you're focused on a particular area, when you're optimizing, titles, descriptions, and the like, just the same way you would with an organic search strategy, making sure that you have those kind of local elements included in there as well. I know a lot of times people will throw phone numbers in the description, they'll throw phone numbers in the titles as well, or sometimes zip codes to kind of strengthen that, depending on how you're going about your strategy. So it's making sure some of those local indicators are included with your kind of traditional on-page optimization. So that's definitely going to come into play as you build out a website or as you're optimizing a website. You still want to keep in mind your standard kind of SEO practices, but you want to integrate those local elements as well. And you can take that a step further. I know, with the structured data, marking up your website where your phone number, your address, and that NAP information, marking that up with the location schema and the business schema, that will take it that much further. And I think those are the things from a local standpoint that are really going to kind of make a difference that you might not be doing when you're just optimizing just an average business that's not worried about location.
Okay, so that part of it hasn't really changed that much. It's still trying to get your information, your NAP information, associated to the topic on a page. I bet that must help too.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is figuring out how to make sure Google understands that the website or the business that you're optimizing for isn't in that physical location. I think that's still crucial in anything that you're doing with that, and that needs to be, obviously depending on the goals and the strategy, that may vary, but in most cases you're going to want to tie it back to that particular location that you're trying to optimize for.
Yeah. Darren, any thoughts on that? Any tips you can add to what Mike has provided?
So yeah, Mike pretty much covered it all. The only other consideration I thought of was multi-location businesses. How do you optimize a single website for 10, 15 locations, right? So in my what I suggest is multiple addresses in the footer up to a point. Like once you get more than 15 locations, then you want to break it out into a location section where you'll drill down based on like state or area or whatever. But I've seen some great examples. If you go to hoganlaw.com, he's got 15 locations in the footer, or 8 or something, like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, I know a few organic SEOs who'd be pissed, who would be not too happy hearing that.
Well, you know what? It's
personally,
actually it's
15
not
links to
spam. Take a
location.
look at it. Take a look at Tom Hogan Law, and he's got every location. Just like these are our locations, and everyone is marked up in schema. It's actually well done, and that's the way to do it. And I think that's a great example of how to.
And that was in the footer. No links, though, right?
No, it's just the name, address, phone number, information in the footer, marked up in schema. It's beautiful. It's perfect.
No links. I'm sorry, it garbled a bit.
Yeah, no links.
Oh, that's awesome. That I agree with. I can see that. What I don't like is seeing a lot of links and footers. Personally, I think Google just goes, "Oh yeah, nice," and moves on.
Yeah, I think it's a spam signal. If you've got a footer full of internal.
Yeah, well, not just a spam signal. I don't think it does any good to have them there, and it just robs page rank from the page, right? Because every link you put on it means all the links distribute that much less. So I'm a big believer in as few links on the home page as possible. Yep. And repeating them is not a good idea. But those are my personal opinions, and we all know what that's worth.
And another question that comes up all the time is, let's say you're a service area business, right? So you are a plumber located in a suburb of the main city, but you're going to service all of the other little suburbs. You're going to service the main city. You're going to service this whole area. You get people coming to you in local saying, "Hey, I want to make sure that I rank in these 100 surrounding cities." So how do you do that? So Andrew Shotland did a great post about this on Search Engine Land just the other day. The way to do it is so first thing to know is that you can't really rank in the pack without physical address. You have a name, address, phone number, you get the pack ranking. So you can't really go out there and get addresses in all these little cities. So the best thing you can do is try to rank organically. Build a page on your site with unique, fresh content about that service in that city, and write it up as a fresh page of content. Put it into your main navigation with areas we serve or that kind of thing. That's the best way to go about it.
Yeah. Adam, any thoughts on the optimizing the home website?
Yeah, someone said a long time ago that your site should be your very best citation, and I think there is a lot of truth there, even if your site isn't especially the most authoritative site around. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that you control your website. You can use fancy schema markup, which isn't really also fancy anymore, but used to be. You can modify your content. You can modify your tags. You can do all of these great things that are going to make that citation that much better. So I think emphasis certainly should go there. Darren just covered multi-locations. I didn't actually look at that resource that he pointed out, but what comes to mind is, and I agree, around 15 locations is where you really should start to break off and get it out of your footer. That's where you should start to create local landing pages for each location. I found one really good example. It's not live yet. We're just designing it right, or someone else is designing it. I'm the SEO on the project. And what they did is they used sort of a jQuery setup in the footer. And so you click on Illinois, for example, and then it would show the Illinois locations. You click on Indiana, and it would show the Indiana locations, and they're all marked up real nice. So that if you don't want to have just a ton of addresses and sacrifice those aesthetics in the footer, jQuery is I found anyway, is a pretty good way to go. I don't have a link for you right now. That site's still in staging right now. So
I was talking about your website.
Oh,
for
gotcha.
The notes. Yeah, thanks. That sounded good. And lastly, the last topic that I kind of wanted to look at today was the importance of consistent NAP information. You guys have gone over this over and over through. This has kind of been like a recurring theme. I'm cleaning one up right now, and this business has decided at different times to call itself different names. So any ideas on how I should go about that problem?
Use Darren's tools.
Yeah. Find the inconsistencies with Darren's tool, which is at whitespark.ca, citation finder. Have used to, pardon me?
Yeah, there's more to it than just the local citation finder. The local citation finder can definitely help in the process, but the local citation finder can only search based on phone numbers. It's the only way that it can search. So you actually need to do a little bit of legwork in Google if you're doing a NAP cleanup before you jump over the citation finder. So the way I recommend you do it is you always start with questions to the business. Give me a list of all the different phone numbers you've used over the past 10 years, however long you've been in business. Give me a list of all the different addresses you've been at. Have you ever moved locations? And give me a list of all the different business names you've used. Once you're armed with that, you can start running all these different searches in Google to find variations of the NAP out there. Then, if you know that there's 5 different phone numbers, and sometimes you find them, so you'll run a search like, business name minus the main phone number. That'll show you citations that have the business name mentioned, and then usually when you look at those, you'll find a different phone number. So that can be really helpful to help you dig out some of those extra phone numbers. Then once you've got a list of all these past phone numbers, that's a great time to throw them into the local citation finder and find all the cases, all the places that those phone numbers were used. The nice thing about the citation finder is that it will it parses out all that garbage that's in the search results, so all the reverse phone lookup sites, all the total junk sites. The local citation finder we've been improving our filters for a long time, and so you're just going to get the raw list of important citations. So that's the process. But citation finder is not going to help you find those cases where the address is messed up. You have to just run Google searches, trying variations to find them.
But if it's a Google search, we know where we go, don't we? Citation Labs and run Link Prospector, folks. It'll do all that for you and more.
Darren never thought of that. It's a tool we developed, and I never even considered that you could use that for citation cleanup. A custom query.
Oh, I use it for my. I'll tell you, the tools on Garrett's site are how I do half of my link cleanup. The biggest half, the hardest half. Finds the de-index sites, finds the de-index sites, finds sites that have no email address, cuts when you're done, you only have about 20% of your links to go and actually review because you've eliminated all the crap using his tools. Outstanding. Like, I couldn't believe how well it worked for a lot of this stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I should write a post on how to use the link prospector for citation cleanup, because it would help a lot with finding all those instances of address variations.
Absolutely.
Listen, I've been looking for something that scrapes, or excuse me, crawls Google's results for quite some time, and I have found nothing like it. For instance, when I was working at another place, often I had to go and find, say, all the PDFs on a site. Do a site search, file kind, and then take that, run it on Google, and then run it on Link Prospector, and it puts it all in a CSV. Job done. Because that's what used to take me all the time, was getting the results off the search. Yeah. Cutting and pasting, and it really got problematic when they started doing the crap where they give you the Google link instead of the real link. Saves me a ton of time. I use that tool like 90 for almost everything I do. You can use it for I can go on and on. Garrett hasn't paid me enough to do that yet.
We're gonna have to send you some money or in the mail or something.
Yeah, or give me a job or something. I don't know. Anyhow, so what are your thoughts on that? Anyhow, the cleanup is important, I think, and I'm lucky that I'm just cleaning up a name. The address has never changed, so I got a feeling it's going to be pretty easy.
I think you can think about citation inconsistencies and the whole NAP cleanup stuff in the same way that you think about the fact when you're not canonicalizing your domain. So if you've got a www version that's indexed and getting links, and you've got a non-www version of your site that's indexed and getting links, when that happens, you're splitting your link equity, right? So you're getting, you know, some links to this domain and some links to the other subdomain. The same thing happens in the citation space. So when you've got multiple sort of variations of your business address out there, you're not really getting the full credit to your listing. So, you know, you may have, you know, 20 good citations that have your correct information, but out there you could have another 100 of previous versions of the address, and when Google sees those and they can't connect them with an active listing or a live listing, they just drop them. They're not crediting your business. You're not getting the full benefit of it. So I think that's really where things come down to with that whole citation cleanup. It's like citation reclamation. When you can go out there and you can clean up those citations, you're just improving, you know, the number. And you can also cause all kinds of problems with duplicate listings. So you get these duplicate listings, and when there's duplicate and Google can't trust the data, they don't know what to show, then they just don't have any trust in it, and so it can affect your rankings that way. I think those are the main issues. That said, I've been noticing recently, like, if you do a sort of a quick audit of people's, like, the top ranked businesses, and you look how messy their citations are, everyone's citations are messy. So I don't know how that works. Like, you know, you would think, oh, well, the guys in the top 2 positions, they must have a super clean citation profile, but they don't.
Have you looked at the guys out of Montreal, Sweet IQ? When they bring in your listings, they actually give you a score on the NAP. For instance, they'll tell you how much of your data is actually spot on to
That's
what
right.
you gave them.
Yeah, they won't let me see their software. They consider me a competitor, so they won't they won't let me sign up for a paid account.
Meet me on Skype sometime, Darren. Be happy to show you.
Yeah, but yeah, I've heard that that's a decent piece of software. I don't know what the pricing is.
It's okay. I've have been trying that one out, and I am also trying your software out, kind of. So you'll probably see a review of both of them together. Yeah,
you know, Wissam, you should probably talk about this. You should talk about Get Listed and Yext. I was going to mention those, but yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah,
well, Get Listed is now called Sweet IQ.
No, that was
also Canadian boys. So
not to be confused.
All behind them.
He hated it when they launched with Get Me Listed.
Yeah, it's different. It's basically right now owned by SEO Moz, which operated by David Mim. If I'm pronouncing it right. Yeah, and they do also have a pretty nice back end to check your consistency, not just with, you know, the Yelp or Google or Bing or even Yahoo, but they have, I think, a lot more fire hoses that the other, I think, Axicon, I think, if I'm not mistaken, probably, or Localizy kind of information they can pull and try to verify if you have the same info group and Localizy, yes. To try to, and Yext actually, the other option, which is Yext, is actually provide you a paid service where they say, okay, you have all these inconsistencies happening right now, and we can do all that and fix it for, you know, if we go with the power listing, I think, the options, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
And Info Group and Localize, are they like aggregators of local information, basically?
It's data centers like Info Group, Localize, and Axicon. They're the 3 biggest, I think.
Okay. And they're who are the people that supply like TomTom and GPS information? Who does that?
I wish I can give you the URL of the infographic that David that also David Mem actually built that tells you the whole who's giving who and the ecology of the whole thing.
Oh, okay. So kind of showing you who's given who data.
Yeah.
So kind of like the old search engine graphs that we used to get, showing who was pouring data into who. That's important because I know a member of the dojo who exploits that regularly, quite effectively.
Adam just posted the link, and I think this is the ecosystem. Yep, that's the word.
Search ecosystem. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, you can see everything. That's really nice. I tried to gather information for the Middle East area, and to get more details or from where they're getting the information. Let's say in Dubai, and they're so secretive about it. From Google point of view, I tried to approach a couple account managers over there in the map department just to provide me information from where you're getting your info. They're very anal about that information.
Yeah, well, you can bet if there's a major provider, like anybody on this ecosystem, you can bet they're verifying the data against that stuff. They always start with something main. Like in the old days, for organic listings, it used to be Yahoo and DMOS.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, I'm working with the industry that it didn't exist any of these. They don't have. Yellow Pages is like all the data is like probably 10 years ago. That there's yellowpages.ae and all that. It's very old, inconsistent. Some would address.
Talking about Mid-East too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. They still cooking holes in the ground there, don't they? Just kidding. Don't anybody don't anyone get me from the Mid-East. I'm just kidding. Take the joke or move on. Come to the wrong place.
Too little, too late, Terry.
Anyhow, just kidding.
He lives in Toronto, next to the Chinese.
Families in
late.
Hamilton. Let me see if we covered everything. Covered the citations and the cleanup. I think that's pretty. That's the most important thing is, I think, on your citations, to be real anal about the NAP information. Because from what I've seen, that has hurt the client that I was looking at probably a lot more than they actually think. And just one last question. It wasn't on the topics, but I've seen it discussed, and for a little while I thought that this may be a big factor in local ranking too, and that is reviews on other third-party, but more specifically, reviews on Google+. Any thoughts as to whether they are boosters? Any one of the three experts care to chime in?
I have a case study I could talk about there. So I was doing some analysis for a large multi-location franchise business in the U.S., and I took a random sample of 100 of their locations and collected ranking data and local ranking factor data for all of them. So it was amazing to see the impact of the reviews. So in large cities, small cities, the businesses that were ranking well were always the ones that had a handful of reviews. Anyone that had no reviews, they typically weren't ranking. And it makes a lot of sense if you think about in terms of what Google cares about, which is user experience, right? So let's say you go to Google and you search for local plumbers, right? You're looking for a city name plumbers. Well, if Google has, let's say in their entire database of plumbers, let's say 200 plumbers, and they have a handful of them, like up to 20, that have reviews, those are more valuable listings for Google to show in the pack because they help the user analyze those business and determine if that's a good business for them. So I would say the fastest track to pack rankings in a market that doesn't have many reviews, like if you're talking about hotels or restaurants, this isn't going to help you. But if you're talking about some cases plumbers, accountants, insurance, businesses that don't have a lot of reviews, if you can get a handful, it's like you're fast track to pack rankings, top pack rankings, because Google wants businesses that have reviews in the pack. I think it's really good. Now there's diminishing returns from that. Once you get that handful, getting 20 more, 30 more isn't going to make that much of an impact. But getting at least a few is very, very important.
Right. So it's maybe not. And sorry to cut you off there, and we're kind of getting near the end. We want to move along quickly here. So basically, getting some is important. Getting large quantities, probably, as you said, diminishing returns. Look at how many the people in your space have and kind of judge by that, because too many is probably also a flag as well.
It can be a flag for sure. And you certainly don't want any spikes. Don't send out a newsletter and say, "Hey, everyone, review us on Google+." Any of those spikes, you'll just get filtered out.
Yeah, or don't put don't have people using your computer at your location where everyone's using the same computer to do their review. That's kind of. Any other tips from Mike or Adam on reviews? Getting them past that Google knows?
Yeah, about you mentioned there, don't do it on a single computer at a single location. Definitely don't do that. I would also recommend definitely third-party reviews. You didn't mention those. There's a lot of weight there, and when Google picks up on them and throws, I guess they just throw the one, or the fact that they did scrape the review, actually show the review anymore. But I've seen when Google finally does that and starts to pick up on those reviews occurring on local directories or whatever, I have seen listings finally take off that were otherwise at the back of the bus kind of thing. So spread the love. Another thing, if you're going to be, this is probably not the best word, but soliciting clients for reviews, get a sense of which accounts they have. Like, for example, if you're creating like a review portal or something like that on your website and trying to funnel them to your preferred or the most authoritative local business directories, try and create a system where you ask them, where do you already have accounts? Are these accounts that you use regularly? Because these are signals that Google and Yelp look to when they go to filter reviews or not filter reviews. They look for accounts that have some maturity, that have left some reviews perhaps, that are regularly used, and so you want to send reviewers to review in places where they are active. Now it's not a certain thing. It's not something that is always the case. I've seen people get past the review filter with with brand new accounts, no problem. But if you're going to be spending all that time and effort getting people to place reviews for you, at least have them post in places where they have accounts, where they have maturity, and where they're going to have the greatest success rate at getting those reviews to stick. Because otherwise, you're wasting your time, and even worse, you're wasting their time.
Okay, that sounds very interesting. So what I gather from you is just don't concentrate on the main ones like Yelp, etc. Kind of hit them all down the line so it's consistent.
And one thing I'd like to add to that too is if you're in a particular niche that you're working in, definitely hit some of those niche specific sites as well. Like I know when I worked in the medical space for a number of years, things like grades, and vitals and things like that. Those are definitely going to help as well, because a lot of times those will show up for those kind of niche specific searches, and people are going to be looking at that, and those can oftentimes be picked up as well. So it's nice, everyone likes to go after Google and Yelp because they're so prominent, but definitely consider some of those niche specific sites that people are looking at as well.
Yeah, they would be the ones, Mike, that you would also want to be getting for your organic results, right?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely going to help as well, and a lot of times too, those will give you a citation with it also. But yeah.
If you're wondering, in my industry, how do I find the best places to get those third-party reviews? Google will tell you. If you browse some of the top-ranking listings, you'll see in the bottom it says, reviews from around the web, and you can see where your competition's getting them. But Adam and his team did this amazing study where they scraped that information from thousands of listings, and they've organized by industry and by city. So you can actually just fire up his spreadsheet and see exactly what the top places to get third-party reviews.
That's the link in the chat there, right, Darren?
That's that. It's amazing data. It's so valuable.
It'll be definitely included in the show notes. So, Adam, I hope we're not giving away the cow here.
No, it was published for a reason.
Oh, okay. Good. Good to know. Well, we've gone on. Should be about an hour now. So, any questions from either Doc or the Wiz?
I think Wiz had a question.
Yeah, previously. I think the question is, how do you think the relation impact-wise between what's happening a website like Panda, Penguin, let's say the top-heavy kind of updates affecting that specific website and how it's replicating to the local sphere? Do you think is there a percentage of, okay, that website is a low quality type of website, will they affect in a certain, do they have a certain percentage of diminishing the positions in, let's say, in Google Places or in the map for a certain search query or for their key terms? I don't know. It's just, I think that's the question.
I'll chime into that just because I actually had, probably shortly after Panda, I dealt with a site like this. Obviously, there was some impact with kind of the organic results, but from what I saw from the few cases that I was dealing with, when it came to Places results, it did not seem to carry over to where it was impacting, the listings from that standpoint, from a local standpoint. So at least in the case of Panda, I'm going to say that no, a major algorithm change that's mostly focused on your kind of organic SERPs probably isn't going to have that same kind of impact on your localized results. And again, that was in a couple particular cases that I was working with. I don't know if you guys have seen, either Adam, if you want to speak to it, or Darren, something you've seen.
I had a case not too long ago where the site got hit with a what do they call it? Abnormal links penalty, or I can't remember exactly.
Unnatural linking.
Unnatural link penalty, and the site definitely right away, the site's organic ranking is just tanked. But the local rankings, especially PAC results, took a lot longer to dip. In fact, when it happened, the PAC results didn't change, but over the next couple months, they started to fall, and it was just a little bit. I think now it's, I don't know, 3 months later or something like that, and there's, I've still got a couple on first page, but we were in first position all across the board before that. So I do believe it has some effect, at least this unnatural links penalty. I don't know how much of an effect it's going to have over, let's say, the next 4 months.
Can I give you a tip?
Sure.
Unnatural linking and those kind of algorithmic, well, that's not actually algorithmic, it's manual. but you'll usually find that those penalties are not site-wide. They are query-specific, and what you'll look at is the citations within that query.
Yeah, they're usually keyword specific.
Yeah, very much so. And Google doesn't spank websites anymore. They're more likely to spank pages that causes a, how do we say, a domino effect where all the pages that page links to are also affected negatively. So that's when you get Penguin, that's bad. Panda, not so bad. It just blocks. They don't follow links off of Panda-ized pages, has been my observation. But locally, I was able to find a page that was one paragraph, and it ranked for a pretty, well, it's a term that was bringing in a lot of traffic. I was amazed that the page wasn't bandized, especially since that page was in the rankings, and a page with a lot more information about the exact same topic was not. I'm still looking into why that could be, but they were local results, I found, which was kind of interesting. So I would think that local would be a lot less impacted by Penguin and Panda for that reason, especially Penguin, because that's has to do with links, and a lot of the stuff that's in the local algorithm is more citation based.
So I can speak to that. I have a couple points to make. With regards to Penguin and how it's query specific often, what you find in the local space is so many businesses spam the heck out of their links with, city name service, city name service, city name service. So you get all these anchor text links that are targeted to that. If they get the unnatural links warning, let's say they have blog networks or whatever, they get the unnatural links warning, with no question that has a massive impact on their PAC rankings as well. Mike Blumenthal and I are working on a study where we analyze how a PAC gets constructed. It's really interesting. Once you start looking at the data, you can see what happens. If you take the data from something that's just purely organic, like AOL search or startpage.com search, and you also take the data from maps, you can see how the PAC gets constructed. It's almost always like this. The first 2 or 3 are basically organically strong listings. So they have high rankings organically, and so the first couple are typically these sort of organically strong, and then the rest of them, they don't show up on AOL or Startpage, so they don't really have organic strength, but they're local businesses, and they get backfilled by the Google PAC, by the Google Maps. So you see that in case after case after case. And some industries have, more organic. Some industries have none. But those PACs are really interesting to see how they get constructed. And so those ones.
There's PACs on AOL now?
Pardon? No, there's no PACs on AOL. That's why it's a valuable source to look at. I was going to
say they don't use AOL results are really good for that kind of research because they don't use universal in their results.
Precisely why we're looking at it. It's like our pure organic source, right? So the people that are ranking here, they're ranking solely off of organic factors, right? So anyone that's in those sort of top position that's ranking in the PAC partially based off the strength of their organic, those cases they can certainly be affected significantly by an unnatural links warning or anything related to Penguin.
Or, any kind of dampening because of link text would really affect them.
Yeah, especially in those specific query spaces.
Right. Especially if they're EMDs. Same thing, even more so.
Yep.
Right? Because exact match domains, that's an actual, like Penguin itself on steroids for EMDs. However, have seen recently a bit of a crank down on the EMDs, like Google has relaxed that a bit. Or I have a theory that all the flux we're seeing in results right now are the actual seed set for the new Penguin being run.
Possibility.
Which is another theory that we'll probably talk about on the regulators when it comes up. Okay, guys, we got a good solid hour here and lots of good tips. Many thanks going to Darren as usual and Mike. You know, always good to see you two guys from the dojo and see you doing so well. And Adam, well, not part of the dojo, but you're still a good guy. Pleasure having you all on. Doc and Wiz, my sidekicks in this new venture. Glad to have you guys along with us. And, you know, every Wednesday, folks, 1 o'clock. And that's something, if you have ideas regarding the time, I'm open to changing this because I'm wondering if the time that we're doing these Hangouts is playing havoc with we're at a bad time for a live audience. That's my thinking. So I'll be asking, you know, anybody who hears this to kind of leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Oh, right on live site. Yeah. So with that, I guess we'll call it a day and see y'all next week and have a good time, folks.
Okay, thanks for having me, Terry. Good times.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yep, and just to keep the tradition going, go make lots of money.